Okay, so I have a couple things I wanted to talk about. I'm crocheting blankets, like I had said, and my one of my daughters. It's weird because I was thinking about this yesterday. Is one of my daughters has a whole bunch of friends. She stayed friends with everybody from high school, and then none of the other kids have. Like I don't. They're just not into that. I guess. I mean, the older two had their own families. Never really. I mean, made different friends, but didn't really stick with any. And the youngest one, she's very much more of a lone kind of, what is that? Introvert. Like she likes to be by herself. So, I mean, she could have like one friend or something, maybe two from school. But the other daughter, she has a lot. And I've known these kids since they were little. And this one is about to have a baby. So I was like, well, I will make a blanket. I'll crochet a blanket while I'm doing these other ones. And so I said, what are her colors? And my daughter said they're not having color. How she worded it was like they're non-binary, so there's no colors. She didn't say no color restriction. I can't remember how she said it, but I was like, so what, just white? Like, is that like they don't want any color? Like, I don't get it. And I had seen the bedroom. The bedroom was so cute because one of her other friends, who's also an artist, she did a mural of a storybook on the wall. It's so cute. I used to do murals on all my kids' walls. I love murals. And, oh, it's adorable. So I figured there was probably, a couple colors that she used in that, that she did of other decoration in the room. I haven't seen the whole nursery or anything. I had just seen this wall. And so, I was thinking, like usually moms pick a color to do their nursery, you know? So I don't know, but this is a new generation and this is what I wanted to talk about because it all kind of goes together. Like I had seen that one kid who keeps ridiculing the boomers, and he thinks that we created all the war. He just so many of these people lump all of the older people in together. I mean, at this point, that I get called a boomer and my mom's it's like, it's so ridiculous. My mom really is a boomer. She really is after the World War II baby boom. So she's an authentic boomer. And yeah, a lot of them do have a certain attitude, but it isn't, it is out of, what they know. It is what they've experienced, what they understand. And, I think a lot of younger people don't really understand how rigid the rules were for some people growing up and how it is a lot for them to just let go of some of this stuff, so it's a process for everybody. But anyways, a lot of people really just want to blame every problem on the world. It's old white men and it's boomers. We're the problem in the whole world, and anybody who is over, I think it's like over 55 is a boomer at this point. But I've heard people who were in their 30s say their kids call them boomers. So it's just kind of a derogatory, word that's just thrown to anybody who you want to disregard their opinion because they're older than you. So it's kind of, and it is such limiting perspective. And it's so egotistical and arrogant. So anyways, at the same, I think I already talked about the one kid that I had seen who, and he's only one of many. I've seen a lot of these kids who have transition regret. And so then they want to go back. And some of them, have been doing the hormones and blockers and stuff. And like that one kid, sitting here crying because now he does want to be a boy and he's got a little tiny baby penis, because these blockers. And, I know that the med beds and stuff are going to put everything back into balance, and it is to go through the experience. So they have to have the repercussions of their choices too, because that is what's going to teach them or help them grow. So they have to go through the follow through and, experience the process. But I think a lot of this stuff is going to be able to be fixed. I think a lot of things that people keep thinking that there's no hope for. I mean, these machines can grow back limbs. They can grow back body parts that have been removed. They can reverse your age of your cells by 25 years. Like, just that alone, why couldn't they just go backwards and fix so many of these problems, So we'll see. That's all we can do is wait and see. And, I think it's going to be sooner than later. But anyways, so, and those kids that I have seen, and the one kid who was crying and stuff and talking about all these friends because they've formed groups, these kids, and they blame their parents. They fucking blame their parents. Like, think about it. If you have a little kid telling you you can't make decisions for yourself, you can't stay home by yourself, we're going to let you decide that you are no longer a boy or a girl. It's ludicrous. But these parents want to jump on. So you think, well, why do they want to jump on so bad? And it is something inside them. Just like I said, all these people who they start to play out their problems through their kids, and they create problems in their kids because it was never their kids' problem. It was always their problem. And they give it to their kids and create these out of balance scenarios in their kids' life because they're trying to fix their own problems. And oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many videos I run across now. It was like the floodgates opened, and now all of these different parents talking about how hard it is to process their own pain and what they're going through, and also parent, and now to see things so much more clearly. So there's a lot of people going through a lot of stuff. But this whole thing with this, gender situation, and because it's going to come back and bite a lot of these people in the ass. It's, and that is what has to happen. They have to learn that. So, and, it's part of the process. But one of the things is, when you really think about it, is, so you have this child who's born. I told my daughter yesterday, I said, look, I don't argue about this or anything. Everybody gets a right to their own lessons. It's not my thing, but it's going to keep going over and over in my head until I say it. So, I do believe that children need some type of identifiers to figure out who and what they are. And when you just keep taking all those away from them, how are they supposed to figure it out? And so I was looking at it like, this little kid is born, and then it is, what am I? Who am I? What is my point? What is my purpose? What am I here for? And then you have parents, I don't know, you tell me. You tell me. What are you? Who are you? And then the kid is like, I don't know. Aren't you supposed to tell me? Like, aren't you older? Don't you know anything? Like, do any of us know anything? Are we all just here trying to figure it out? And, the parents are just trying to no, I don't know. Why don't you tell me? And the little kid, like, just think about how that would feel as a child. Is there is no walls. There is no borders. There's no understanding of self. There's no reverberation. There is just this open water. And, they're trying to create that, but they're going to create a lot of, doubt, a lot of, the word that is coming to my head is, just lost it. But they're not going to be able to see themselves clearly when they don't have any identifiers. And they keep taking these identifiers away. And then they want them in these programming, education centers as soon as they can, walk. I swear to God, if it were to keep going, they would, eventually just have people like come to the school, give birth, get back to work, and we'll take care of the kid, And that is essentially almost like what a hospital is. They're all these government centers. And, think about this too, because I saw this girl, and she's in Arizona, and she's in a Section 8 apartment building, and she did this whole thing showing this lady getting arrested who had 5 kids and having her kids taken away from her. And she was telling this whole scenario of what happened, and that it seemed like the manager of the apartments is going out and telling people, oh yeah, like be someplace, because they have these fishermen people in all areas. It's the same thing as the girls who were pulling in people to the island. And so you have these people who get these jobs, because remember, they always put certain people in certain jobs. And so a Section 8 apartment manager person, I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying when they do this is how they do it. That's why, we have all these pervs working in schools and stuff like that. So, she can go out and say, oh yeah, you should move in here. And then she is the one who calls DCS and tells them to come and do something. And then the kids are taken and disappear. And they just keep this cycle going. It happens all the time to poor people. It's all being set up. All these people all work together. Moving into Section 8 is like moving into government housing. And so, of course, they are going to be putting their watchdogs, they're kind of, what is that called when they come across coyotes? They're kind of like coyotes in life, they are the ones that are keeping all of this this system alive with the darkness, And so those people are legit out there all around in all different places in our world. But definitely anything involved with education, any government facility. So then they can sit there and turn these people in for all sorts of things and get their kids taken away and get these women put in jail, and the women speak up and then they're just crazy. And it is really sick. But all of these souls come in for these different experiences. And that's why I say I'm always just like, man, why would someone pick this? But, we can look at everybody's the same way. Like, I thought my childhood was so rough. And then when I married my, like each one of the husbands I had serious problems growing up. And that's the thing. So many of us, we had serious problems growing up and we never dealt with them. We never faced our own pain. We just, kept trying to, rush through life and forget about what causes us problems. But really, it doesn't go away. It just fills our baggage up. It fills our closets with skeletons and, fills us up full of pain and suffering. It's because we have to face it. But it is just not something that they've been teaching people to do. So it is, they don't want us healthy. They don't want us to be our best selves. And, it's the whole point of medicine is just to keep you sick. It never makes you better. And not only does it keep you sick, it adds on more side effects and makes you sicker and sicker. So you need more and more medicine. And I feel really bad for some of these kids who their parents has transitioned them like that. And now they are stuck on these expensive meds, hormones, and all of that stuff. When I worked at an endocrine, in internal medicine, he was an endocrinologist. And so our people all had hormone imbalances, a lot of diabetics and stuff. And one of the kids, we had a kid, and he was, what is that word? It's not circumcised. Castrated. He was castrated as a child by an abusive parent, I think. So they, I don't remember how they did it. If they put a rubber band around his testicles. And if you do that, like even a mom's hair, a little boy, baby, he can, his little tiny testicles, when a hair, you change his diaper and a hair gets in there and twists around that, it will make it fall off. So, you do have to keep that area clean. You can't ignore it, because it does happen. And I'm pretty sure they did that on purpose, though, and they made his testicles fall off. And so then he got to be the age of puberty. Of course, he couldn't go through puberty because his hormones were inside his testicles. And so he was getting older. He still had the penis the size of a baby. And so his parent or guardian or whoever it was that brought him in, he was having to go on all sorts of hormones and stuff to try and push him into, because also they won't grow. So they need like growth hormone because they stay a small stature, like that kid who I was talking about, who his mom was braiding his hair. And he was still just that little bony kid. He hadn't really developed any muscles or anything. He was really small. We'll see. So that is where those kids can get trapped in just kind of that bony, gangly, no real substance, that still have a little tiny baby penis. Their voice won't change, like all of that stuff. And, how many adult men want to go around like that, because you age, you get older, but then you're still trapped in this little tiny baby body. And so he was on all sorts of hormones and stuff, but I just remember how expensive some of that stuff was. And so when I hear about all these kids and, these people transition, some of them are on like tons and tons of different pills. And all those cost money. And, insurance has loopholes and stuff. And, and then plus all of the insurance, they have rules, and you are on, say these little kids are on their dad's insurance. And then their dad gets fired from his job and loses that insurance. Well, he can try and pay Cobra, I think, for a year or something. There's all sorts of limitations on everything that they do because it's all traps to us. It's all like holes in the floor for us to fall through so we can never get ahead. And so then he goes and he has to change insurance. Well, then they can say, well, this is predisposing. We can't cover his hormones. We can't cover this when he goes to get a new insurance. You're going to have to pay all of that out of pocket. We can't do that. So they have all of these different loopholes, and it all is dependent on different insurances. Like, people run into these problems all the time. And so you're setting up a kid on that whole thing, that whole misery nightmare of insurance and having to make sure there's somebody to pay his pills and stuff, because just one bottle of pills can be $1,000. Well, there's people who cannot make it right now. I saw a guy saying the other day he makes $26 an hour, and he was like, how are you guys doing it? Because I thought I had a good job and I'm not making it. And there's so many people who feel the same way. And so how much are these kids going to have to make to be able to pay all their bills and then pay thousands in medications every month? And then, when a pill becomes a certain time on the market and it can go generic, well, then all of a sudden, that doesn't work anymore. We have a new one. And they're so nefarious, they'll set that up. They'll create it so your body will stop working on that to set you up to have the other one. So they'll keep you on all the most expensive stuff on purpose. That was the whole thing of what has been come out with that word you're definitely not allowed to say, but it sure is in the news right now. And it's a word that I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan talked about. And everybody made like it was, like we're taking, or people are taking horse medicine or something, that word that's an Ivor. And because of it being generic, I think it's the same with that Hydra, that other one, is when they're generic, they're so cheap. And these ones have been around so long and they're so effective But see how they manipulate. And then you look at it with what they're doing to these kids, getting them all trapped on there. And then you look at like these parents who are judging other parents, judging their own parents, judging their grandparents. And then they're making these huge choices that are really going to come back and bite them in the ass. And in all of nature, you can't stop the inevitable. You can't run in and, tell them and make them see the truth. They have to see it for themselves, however that plays out. I wish that we could just share information and people would know it and understand it, but it just doesn't work that way. It is very much the teacher and a learner. Is if somebody wants the information, is looking for the information, then they're willing to accept the information and acknowledge and absorb it. But if they're not, they're there to experience the situation, and it's hard to watch. I've said forever, it's hard to sit and watch somebody try and learn to tie their shoe. You just want to grab the laces and here, go, it's tied. That's the way I always was. I'll get you some Velcro shoes. You don't need to tie, just Velcro. No, I did teach my kids to tie. But all of those tedious things, I definitely have had problems with being patient. Learning patience is definitely part of what I was here to expand in myself, to learn to have more patience and stay calm and, all of those kinds of things. Because I was very just like intense, like, controlling. Oh, the world's gonna end. Oh, it's so horrible. The world's always out to get me. I never gonna, you know what I mean? And I just as weird after you do a lot of growing and stuff, when you look back at who you were, it's almost unrecognizable to yourself. It truly is like you're an old self. It is a self that no longer exists. You've recreated yourself. And then you become a whole entirely new person. So it is, and it is like, you have to accept your old self, because your old self made a lot of mistakes to get to your new self. So, you have to look back at your old self and appreciate everything they did to get you to where you are. So you don't want to be judgy of your old self, even though you've done a lot of stupid shit. We all did. I mean, that is how it works, because consciously, as consciousness, we've all been, adolescents. So we've all been trying to learn and expand ourselves, and it's all been a kind of a fumbling experience because of all of the things we've been fighting against. It's like we've been trying to climb a waterfall to get up the side of a mountain. And so it has been difficult, and it's brought the worst out in some people, and for some people it's brought the best out in them. That is a choice that everybody gets to make. Which side of yourself are you going to feed, the dark or the light? And, and that is one of the things too, like there's so many people freaking out about what's going on in Illinois. And I said there's going to be certain places that are going to get hit really hard. And it keeps happening. And that is because that collective has to go through certain experiences so it can evolve. That area, the energy that certain areas have carried. And so that has to be purged out. And Chicago, Chicago has been a ghetto for a long time. It is, people who have lived in some of these cities just don't realize, like, if you're in New York and people are being, what is that word called? Mugged all the time. People are being mugged all the time. There's ways that this stuff could be stopped. They let it, they allow it. They want it to. And then plus you have some of these criminals that are a part of the system and just funnel all of it straight back through the system. It's what has kept this system alive. It has been working off of the evil doings from the bottom to the top. And so each person, has made a choice. So in some of these places, like these inner cities, and they create these inner cities. It's not like the inner cities are created by the people. It's the controllers create the inner cities like a prison to trap certain people so that they can never get ahead, and they feel hopeless and helpless, and they begin to just assault their own community. That's all created. They do that on purpose because they know that a lot of people are going to choose to feed the dark. A lot of people will choose to steal in order to live and will take from others. They create the chaos, and they create the anger and the violence, and they get people trapped and feeling trapped. And but the traps are big. It's not just like they just feel trapped, and they just don't try. No, the traps are huge. It's like being in a spider web and being wrapped in the cocoon, and the spider's just waiting. So these are big traps. It's not like, simple things. Like, it's a lot to overcome, a lot of obstacles, but the soul puts itself into the situation for the experience. So all of these different places where it's so heavy in crime, you get these people who go in, and then they get to feel like there's no hope, they have no choices, and then they choose to go in that direction. And there's so much of that energy. You start having gangs and gangs, trying to get little kids to join them at a young age. And then part of the initiation, you have to do horrible crimes. And a lot of them, you have to actually kill somebody. And then you have all of these people who are homeless, who are too scared to leave the city, who stay somewhere where it feels like more safe. They have light, and, they don't know what to do, to go out and in the forest, and there's animals, and, so they stay there because it seems safe, but really it is part of the trap. They just don't know how to get out of there. And then you have, they bring in all these drugs. I mean, and especially right now with all of these people who are so strung out on drugs. I really don't think, I think a lot of the people who are strung out on drugs, I mean, when you see them in the way that they're all just like, it's like they've already left their bodies. It is like, somebody who's in a coma going in and out of their body. I don't think they're going to stay there. I think that they're just showing us how sick this world had become, that people had become disposable, and it's very, very sad. There's just a lot of sad stuff that's being exposed to us, but we have to be the change, because we've also been the dark. It hasn't just been these evil people. They created a space for people to go out and play these parts, and a lot of people chose the dark. And whether they felt forced by their life and their communities, or whatever, if they felt limited in choices, it was still, that going into the dark and wanting to hurt other people. And it's so crazy too, because that is, those that feed the dark, those would be considered demons. So see where people sit there and say, oh, they're demons, it's demons. Well, there's people all around you that are choosing the dark, so they're all demons? I don't think so. There is, I think people just want to have like all of these labels and stuff. I don't think that everybody is demons. Like, no, you are choosing the dark. But at this time of ascension, you get this choice of, working towards the light and healing yourself and evolving and moving towards enlightenment. or to stay in the dark and, perpetually in pain, but the that they have to play it out still, that there's things that they have to play out. So, whatever that they're going to go through by experiencing their part of the dark. But it doesn't mean they're demons. Like, all of these people just think like all these different souls are demons and aliens and devils and monsters and all this stuff. It's just, no, we're all just souls. We're all just souls of the cells of a solar system. We are all connected. And all these souls, all these aliens, and all these beings from all over the place, the goddamn spiders, every single thing that is conscious is, we're all the same. There isn't a difference. If consciousness is conscious, it is making choices. And then it wants to understand its choices. It wants to understand how it's held responsible for its own choices. So, anyways, and yesterday, I just got to say this real quick. Hold on. Let me just tell this real quick. So I've been saying about that there's people around here, that someone's coming into my house, someone's messing around, somebody's bothering me, and that's why I was talking about the demons, because there's people, oh, you got demons in your house, run! I was like, or, well, I know about ghosts. I'll tell you about ghosts and stuff. And it's like, I know about ghosts. I know about, that's the only thing that kind of drives you crazy when you go out and tell stuff. You always have people coming in to, help you fix it. Or that they misunderstand you, and whatever. You got to just stay in your own inner knowing and not get caught up in everybody's perspective. But anyways, so I'm sitting here crocheting, and Stella was laying on this was, I think it was shortly after I finished recording, and I was still waiting for my thing to download, and she was laying here in front of me, and she was asleep. And all of a sudden, something picked her leg up, and it jolted her awake. It scared her. And then she just kept looking and looking, trying to figure out what was going on. And then she got so freaked out, she just went outside. She wouldn't come back in. She came in and ate dinner, and she laid in the kitchen facing the wall, crying. She wouldn't even come in the living room. Finally, she came back in the living room like at 7:30 at night, but she did not want to be in the house. And so, and hold on, I said. So but this was what was cool. So I was, they laugh at you if you try and do a smudging or, light sage, like I'm silly. And I yelled at them that one night, and they got out. So last night, I don't know, I was just frustrated or something, and I was yelling. I was thinking, man, it just seems like, I just seem like a crazy person. Like I've said, like from the schizophrenic people I've seen, I seem like one of them, sitting here yelling and talking to people who aren't there. I told you to get out of my house. It's just funny because it's real. Like, it is really real. But so I was sitting here, and I decided I'm gonna go inside of myself, and like, I don't know, whatever. I was led to do this. So I went inside, and it was like I was in this void of darkness, and I could see my light. I could see my spirit. So I focused on my spirit. It was like a gold light in the middle of all of this darkness. And I used my ethereal voice, and I yelled something like, get out or go or something. And but I did it from inside of here. And I saw, it's so weird and so hard to explain, because it's like you see it, but you're also are it, and you experience. So it's really hard to explain, but so it is, it went out, like this sound went out, and it was so powerful. I couldn't believe it. I could feel the energy. Like, I couldn't even open my eyes I couldn't just open my eyes. Like, this energy was huge, and it was kind of like, whoa, I cannot believe all of that just came out of me. So it was like my internal yelled out, And it was long. It didn't just go. No, it was like, it was so deep and so loud, and it went like a bell. And like one of those great big giant church bells or something. And when it rings and how it just reverberates, and that energy, that movement keeps going with the sound. That's what it was like. It was so fucking cool. And then I called in all of my guides and my spiritual, the ones that are here to assist me on my mission or whatever. And so the thing is, is that I was thinking, so when you have these astral travelers, like if they're CIA, MIB, whatever, the other group, there's no telling how many of these groups that they actually have that have the capabilities to go out and monitor us in the, in the ethers, in the astral. And, they know, like they can tell when certain souls come out of their bodies and stuff like that. They're out there monitoring. I've heard people talk about this for years who were astral travelers, that there's people out there who are monitoring. So anyways, I was like, so these ones that are coming in here trying to harass me, and they come in here, and then I call in all my spiritual people. So the ghosts, the spirits that are out there who are there to protect and guide you. And so they have more abilities as a spirit in the spiritual realms, right? Than if I just take my consciousness out and just put my consciousness out and go. And because like I've said, it's like this is kind of like a protective gear, like your spacesuit. And so when you leave your spacesuit, you're at risk as far as I'm concerned. And so, or you can be at risk, and there is people out there who are in the astral. And like I had heard from that one guy that he tried to get away and they could just make him go where they wanted. So anyways, I was like, so if those beings that come in here and harass me, and then the spirits come in, they can bind them. They can trap them so that they can't, like they showed me like a jail, kind of like a little cell right there that they can hold them in, and they can't get back into their body. Like they can surround them essentially so that they can't do any harm. Because some of these people who are going out are not following universal law. You can't, I mean, when they laugh at you when you tell them to get out and stuff like that, that's against universal law. And I don't know if it's just because here it's been such an ordeal between God's law and man's law, and so many of these spirits, or so many of these beings that are, they're astral police or whatever, that they are either MK Ultra or just of the dark, that they just don't see, that they want to come in and harass those of us who are trying to bring in the light. And for me, like trying to keep me awake, that's, to keep me from not being able to sleep is, I think, part of the thing to keep me unstable. Because if I'm tired and I'm dragging around, how much light am I emitting? How much am I meditating and sending out light and love? If I'm just dragging around, like, how am I going to get through this day, So that's the kind of stuff I think that they do. But anyways, there's all sorts of different ones. I mean, they're going on. I mean, I don't know. Some of these girls are being molested or something, I guess, at night. So, I don't know. I just know that if you are out of your body, you don't have as much as people who are who don't have a body. Like if you have a body and you're out of your body, then you're out of your protective suit. And the people who don't have a body, you're in their world. And so anyways, I just kind of thought that was interesting. But I better get going and go feed her or whatever. I probably will come back, because I swear there was some other stuff I wanted to talk about. And today's the 11th. So, today supposedly Wall Street's going to crash. We can only hope. We got to keep things moving. Yesterday, I was really hoping for more. In everything I looked on, it was just, oh, the queen, the queen, the queen. Oh, God, we got this ceremony, that ceremony. Oh, the passing of the queen is so sad. Like, the news is really trying to build it up. It's like, okay, while you guys are all sitting there trying to play this game, there's plenty of us who are, cheering and excited. This evil person is gone. She's, the crown has massacred so many people and destroyed indigenous communities, eaten children. Like, these people are fucking evil. I'll be glad when they're all gone. So anyways, hopefully let's just all keep our fingers crossed today that Wall Street goes down, and it's gonna, because everything is gonna go. It is like a sinking ship, and it just starts pulling everything with it. And the queen is gone, so it's already, the movement is happening. It's I think it's gonna just keep building momentum, and we still have something. This has created a lot of I wouldn't just say division. It has created a lot of clarity, because there's so many people who are now looking at it like, oh my God. The same thing I was saying. I'm not the only one saying it. Like, oh my God. You want to go out and touch Charles? You want to go out and mourn these people? Like, oh my God. What? It is sick. To those of us who know the truth, it is sick. And that they are just like, they know not what they do. Ugh. I just can't even imagine. You won't be able to get that hand clean once you know the truth. So anyways, hopefully something big will happen. There's still so many people saying that we'll definitely lose our power. The fires are really near me at this point. They're evacuating over, like, around where Everett is. And Everett is about an hour and a half from Bellingham. I'm a half hour from Bellingham, but I'm in the mountains, so across the mountain range. And you know what they're doing? They're making it freezing cold here at night. But the only thing we got going for us is they've got so much smoke now. And that causes the sun a problem to be able to really put out its heat, because it's a very direct heat source, like a weapon. And so it doesn't just heat the atmosphere, it has a direct heat. And so they are trying to heat it up so that it can have the cold and hot crash. So then they get the windstorm going, possibly some thunder and lightning and rain. So then they're like, oh, lightning strike. Now we have a fire here and a fire here and blah, blah, blah. That's what they do. So, oh, it's climate change. Oh, it's God. And I really swear to God, I think that they are purposely they're doing revelations on purpose to get these people to panic. I swear to God. And so anyways, the thing with the sun, because it is like that, and it takes it a while to heat up in the morning, I've noticed. It takes it hours. So I don't think that they are getting the efficiency that they want for this storm. So I don't know. That's, that's luck on our side. That's the hand of God right there. But, they'll come in with a drone and just start a tree on fire. And but there was several cities being evacuated yesterday in Washington State. So, and it's so smoky here. So I don't know. The power can go down. We could be evacuated. There's just no way to know at this point. And we can just hope that, things are just going to just really go crazy now, and Wall Street crash, and everything will just start going and going and going. And, then we will reach a point where these attacks will stop, where they are not attacking the earth and attacking us in the physical like this. So, hopefully this week we'll see a change in power. I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to drag on. Like I said, I thought this would be over in 2020. I was very optimistic. I wish I could use my optimism to create the world I want. But, it's not just up to me. It's up to us all. We're collective, and we have to come together, and we have to direct our vision and what we want. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.